All right, now, first on the microphone, please welcome our resident epic poet, Venato.
Thank you.
Hey, I did it. Oh, and then I knocked your phone out of your hand. So sorry. Is this mine? Yes. Thank you.
One thing I love about this space is the nice carpeting all around. So I've been composing a poem called The Life of Robin Hood, and I'm really excited because as of this evening, the poem I've written and I'm about to recite for you is now the longest Robin Hood poem ever composed. So that's cool. Yeah. The previous record holder is called A Jest of Robin Hood, and it was written in the 1400s. And then no one's ever made a long narrative poem about Robin Hood since then. But I'm doing a book, and I'm currently in chapter 8, so you've missed the first 7 chapters, sorry. But in this particular part of the book, Robin's about 16 or 17 years old, and this chapter is chapter 8, The Jousts at Nottingham Fair. When we last left our hero, Robin was unconscious. His cousin Geoffrey is at Nottingham Fair for a jousting tournament in red armor, which, unbeknownst to Robin, is a color code that a spy from London is looking for. While in Sherwood, Robin overheard 2 robbers plot to kill Geoffrey after the fair. When Robin ran from them, he was struck in the back with an arrow, but his horse carried him to Nottingham, where he fell unconscious. We pick up the story as he awakes. Chapter 8, The Jousts at Nottingham Fair. When Robin woke, he found his esquire binding up his wound. He smiled to prove he felt no more the pain that made him swoon. "Did Geoffrey do the joust?" he asked, to ease his friend's concern. "Not yet," said Will, "and thou as well hast still a prize to earn." Then Warrington spoke up. "That's right, thy wound is healing fast. See here the dart we plucked from thee, and may it be the last." He showed the straight and sturdy shaft, which bore a peacock's quill, and said, "Such plumes are markers of the bandit chieftain Will." Then Robin said, "Bestow it with my bow as spoils of war." And then he washed and ate, and felt much better than before. His life was saved because the Norman cape he wore was thick. It slowed the shaft and let his shoulder blade endure its prick. But now the jagged puncture in the cape was growing wide. Unless he trimmed the mangled part, the garb would wound his pride. So Robin grabbed some shears and cleaned it up as best he could. But he was not a tailor, and his cape became a hood. The House of Healing kept its portals open for the fair, lest any jousting knight should come to harm and need their care. When Warrington paid Robin's dues, they joined the swarming crowd. A giant ring was in the center of the fairgrounds now, and wooden stands were built around it, draped in red and gold, and flags and banners waved above their heads on rigid poles. Above the din they heard the blare of trumpets ringing out. The sheriff took his station, and the people raised a shout. Then Stuteley said, "He must be great, how loud the people cheer." The servant said, "They only love his power," with a sneer. As Gamewell's representatives, they climbed above the rest. Their box was near the sheriff's, where the vantage point was best. They first beheld the bouts of quarterstaff, and little Will was keen to join the tournament and demonstrate his skill. But Warrington said no. The crowd would know thy face for sure, and there would be an outcry for the riots from before. Let be then, Will, and tend thy master. Robin was agreed. Besides, he said, of thine assistance Geoffrey shall have need. 2 villains wait upon the road for him, intent to slay him. Thou must convey a warning, lest those criminals betray him. Then Robin told them what occurred while he was in the wood. The time then came to start the jousts, and up the sheriff stood. He bade the crowds be still. A pair of cavaliers then came. A trumpet sounded, and their esquires heralded their names. The knights were clad in chainmail, bound with ribbons milky white. The crowds beheld their armor glittering and burnished bright. Their esquires threw their gauntlets down before the sheriff's seat and challenged any knights within the fairgrounds to compete. And then 2 knights in black approached, and all the clamor hushed. The sheriff's daughter, Rita, rose to speak to them and blushed. Her face was hard and wincing, and her yellow hair was straight. She timidly addressed the knights who stood beside the gate. She told them what the rules were, which the heralds then repeated. The rivals took their places, and the sheriff's girl was seated. The starting signal sounded, and the chargers heard its blare. The thunder of their dashing hooves was heard throughout the fair. The lances clanged with armor, dust arose and settled down. The knights in black were off their horses, helpless on the ground. Their heavy gear prevented them from rising on their own, but soon their esquires helped them stand, and then their zeal was shown. They eagerly went charging once again against their foes, and knocked the knights in white upon the ground with fearsome blows. The people shouted madly till the white knights won the game, and thereupon new knights, arrayed in red and scarlet, came. Now Robin tried to see which one was Geoffrey in disguise, but quicker did the spy from London meet with Geoffrey's eyes. This small and thin-faced man was standing by the sheriff's seat. He soon would tell Prince John he saw the Scarlet Knight compete. Now Geoffrey in his second joust was stricken off his saddle, and long he lay there swooning, for his brains were briefly addled. Then Robin's heart stood still, he saw his cousin had no aid. "Attend him, Will," he told his squire, while silently he prayed. "He's only dazed, my lord," said Warrenton. "With all that gear, a modern knight can't rise again once fallen on his rear. May all the saints," continued he, "protect me from such arms. I'd rather keep my body free and brave the risk of harm." But Will ignored his grumbling. "Robin, watch me go," he said, and somersaulted down, and toward the Scarlet Knight he sped. His master shouted angrily for acting like a clown, but Will was quick to help his master's kin get off the ground. Then Robin's eyes went roving to and fro about the stands. Across from him 2 people sat, the first a grave-faced man. His robes were splendid, and his features bore a courtly air. Beside him sat a black-haired girl, whom Robin thought most fair. He found himself forever glancing over toward her place. She gaily tossed her curls, and eyes of blue adorned her face. He saw that smiles and merry laughs were ever running through her, and much was Robin pleased with her. He vaguely thought he knew her. Of 16 years she seemed to be, or somewhere thereabout, and when the jousts were fierce, he saw her features flush and pout. Her hair was black as winter's night, it queerly wrapped her face. Her eyes were blue as violets, and full of charm and grace. 2 times the maiden spotted Robin's glances turn her way. The second time her blue eyes shined, she blushed and looked astray. Then Robin turned to Warrenton. "Who are those people there?" And cautiously his fingers pointed out the courtly pair. But Warrenton, distracted, didn't hear what Robin said. The stubborn boy persisted till his gaze was rightly led. "Oh, them, my lord, that's Master Fitzwalter," he said at last. "The warden of the city gates, a man of highest class. He's second to the sheriff, which, in truth, is not much praise. If he was sheriff, much I think we'd spend with him our days. The maiden with him is his only child, her mother's dead." "That's sorry news, for she is very lovely," Robin said. "Put not thy trust in women, Robin," said the servant sadly. "A moment's cheer they bring, but in the end it turns out badly." Then Robin answered, "Thou art ill of temper, man, for shame. I'll hear thee talk like that no more. But might thou know her name?" "I said her name is Fitzwalter," said Warrenton, off put. "Her name, sir, not her surname," Robin said, and stamped his foot. "All right," the servant answered. "Maybe it was Claire or Joan. I can't recall. My memory is awful, that I own. But surely it's of no account. Now look upon the field. The jousts are done, and as I said, thy cousin didn't yield. He triumphed in his game, and soon you archers shall compete." He gave the lad advice, while Robin fretted in his seat. Before the jousters left the ring, the Scarlet Knight rode up to take his commendations and receive a golden cup. He dipped his lance and made his charger bend upon its knees before the sheriff's box, who said his daughter was well pleased. He therefore placed a leafy crown on Geoffrey's weapon's tip, and thanked him for his fairness and his goodly gamesmanship. The sheriff also gave a goblet fit for kings to drink, and as he leaned to hand it over, Robin saw him wink. Then Geoffrey nodded back to him, and as the watchers cheered, he slowly paced his charger, and around the ring he steered, with Stuteley following, until, returning once again, he raised the lance aloft, the laurel dangling on its end. Then Robin asked the servant, "Does he give it back, and why?" "The victor must bestow it on a girl," was his reply. And then the foolish crowd acclaims the maiden beauty's queen. Thy cousin saw the sheriff's wink, aware of what it means. The sheriff wants his Rita to receive the victor's crown, and otherwise he'll doubtless have him driven from the town, or in some other way bestow him injury and shame. Well, Robin said, I wouldn't care, I'd choose a different dame. And well he might, but now the sheriff's daughter got the prize, and Robin saw the black-haired girl look on with jealous eyes. The archery was next, and Robin's face began to grin. He knew exactly who would get the prize if he should win. Thank you. The next chapter is called The Golden Arrow, but you'll have to stick around a bit. It'll come a bit later in the evening, so thank you so much, and I look forward to more recitation.
All right, thank you, Bernardo.